All right, let's talk about one of the most common things we see at the pharmacy counter, swelling, or as we know it, edema. Today, we're going to build a practical toolkit to help you turn a simple prescription pickup into a really impactful counseling session for your patient. Let's get right into it.
It always starts with this question, right? A patient walks up, you can see they're worried, they're uncomfortable, and they're looking to you for some real answers. This is our cue. This is where we start turning that concern into a clear plan, and it all begins with really understanding the basics. So before we can give great advice, we have to be pros at explaining things simply. This first part is all about breaking down what edema actually is in language that anyone can grasp.
Okay, we all know this textbook definition, but for a patient, it's just a bunch of medical jargon. The trick is to simplify it. You could say something like, think of your body as being in a constant balancing act with salt and water. Right now, it's holding on to a bit too much salt, and wherever salt goes, water just has to follow. All that extra water is what's causing the swelling you're feeling. See? Simple.
Here's a really easy diagnostic clue you can give your patients. You can ask them, hey, if you press your thumb firmly into the swollen spot for a few seconds, does it leave a little dent behind? If they say yes, that's what we call pitting edema. If it doesn't, that could point to something different, maybe an issue with the lymphatic system. It's a quick, simple piece of the puzzle.
So with those basics down, our role kind of shifts from teacher to detective. To really counsel well, we've got to ask the right questions to figure out what's actually causing the problem. And it's so important to remember that the cause might be right there in their medicine cabinet, or even on your own pharmacy shelves. From everyday NSAIDs to blood pressure meds, steroids, even some antidepressants and PPIs, a lot of common drugs can cause fluid retention. This is where our expertise is just absolutely crucial.
And this is why a thorough medication review is one of the most powerful tools we have. It's not just paperwork, it's detective work. A quick look at their prescriptions, their OTCs, and any supplements they're taking can often point you right to the culprit.
So, besides just the medication list, what else are we listening for? What are the key questions we can ask that will help us narrow things down and give the best possible advice?
Think of these three as your go-to investigative questions. First, asking about salt gets right to the heart of that fluid balance problem. Second, asking if the swelling is in both legs or just one is a big clue. Swelling in both legs often points to a body-wide or systemic issue. Swelling in just one? That could be something more localized, like a clot. And of course, you have to know about any underlying heart, liver, or kidney problems, because those are the big organs in charge of managing fluid.
Okay, so once we've gathered our clues, the first move isn't always a new prescription. It's about empowering the patient with lifestyle changes they can start making immediately. This is, hands down, the foundation of any good plan to manage edema.
You can give them this simple 4-step game plan. Number 1, and this is the big one, cut back on salt. Number 2, manage how much fluid they're drinking, based on their doctor's advice. 3, simple things like not standing in one place for too long can make a real difference. And 4, recommend some medium pressure compression stockings. Look for that 20 to 30 millimeter Hg range to help squeeze that fluid back where it belongs.
Now this is what makes your advice truly useful. Just saying reduce sodium is, well, it's pretty vague, but telling them to aim for less than 2 grams of sodium a day, that's a real measurable goal. That's the difference between telling someone what to do and actually showing them how to do it.
Now, of course, lifestyle changes often go hand in hand with medication. So let's talk about how we can explain diuretics or water pills in a way that actually clicks with patients and helps them stick with it.
At the counter, let's forget about the loop of Henle and all that complex stuff. The best explanation is the simplest one. This medication is what we call a water pill. Basically, it sends a message to your kidneys telling them it's okay to let go of that extra salt and water your body's been holding on to. It's clear, it's accurate, and it connects the pill directly to their problem.
This little table really boils it down to what patients need to know. For loop diuretics like furosemide and thiazides like HCTZ, you've got to stress taking them in the morning. Why? So they aren't up all night running to the bathroom. For side effects, keep it simple. With furosemide, tell them to watch out for dizziness. With HCTZ, give them a heads up that it might affect their blood sugar. And for spirolactone, which is potassium sparing, it's all about watching out for high potassium.
Okay, this next part is so important for managing expectations and keeping patients safe. You have to emphasize that this is not about losing weight fast. The goal is a slow and steady removal of fluid.
no more than about a kilogram or 2.2 pounds a day. If you go too fast, you risk dehydration and a whole lot of other problems.
But what happens when the first plan just doesn't seem to be working? In this last section, we're going to cover exactly that, how to handle those tougher cases and how to really drive home the one thing that matters most for success: adherence.
We've all been here. A patient comes back, they're frustrated, and they say, "I'm taking my water pill every day, but my legs are just as swollen as before." So what's our play?
First things first, we give it a name. This isn't some weird failure, it's a known clinical challenge called resistant edema. Just naming it helps frame the problem and shows that there's a plan for it.
And here's that plan. It's a stepped approach. But notice what's number one. Before we even think about touching the meds, we go right back to the beginning and re-emphasize that sodium restriction. If that's truly under control, then we can talk about next steps, like increasing the dose, maybe going from once a day to twice a day, or as a last resort, even adding a second, different kind of diuretic.
This quote right here really says it all, doesn't it? This might be the single most important takeaway. We can throw more and more medication at the problem, but if a patient's diet is loaded with salt, those diuretics are fighting a battle they just can't win. This connection is everything. And finally, our most important job is always patient safety. We have to teach our patients what to watch out for. Tell them to be on the lookout for signs that the treatment might be working a little too well. Things like feeling confused, really dizzy, super tired, or weak. Those are red flags that mean they need to call their doctor right away.
So let's end with this thought. Every single time a patient comes to your counter, it's an opportunity. By asking the right questions, explaining things in a way that makes sense, and really partnering with them, we're doing so much more than just handing over a bottle of pills. We're providing confidence, we're empowering them to take control, and we are making a real difference. Thank you.